Justin Breen, it is so good to have you here. I have to tell you, I thoroughly enjoy reading your Grateful Journal Chronicles on LinkedIn on almost a daily basis.
Thank you.
What made you start doing this, and how long have you been doing it?
One, grateful to be here, pun not intended. Grateful heart creates exponential network, creates limitless opportunities. So it all starts with a grateful heart, not mindset. It starts with the heart. So grateful heart. And it started many years ago, and then do a grateful journal to my wife, Dr. Sarah Breen, who's also COO of one of our companies. So I would do that. That's the first thing I do every day is a grateful journal to her. 7 days a week and then 5 days a week on LinkedIn, what I'm grateful for that day. And have found that gratitude attracts gratitude, grateful people. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I want to copy it, but I don't want to copy you.
It's not, I don't believe in competition, collaboration. So
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really nice. I love it when I see it in my feed. I don't see it every single day, but I see it here and there. And I am grateful to have made the gratitude list on a few occasions. I think it's a really nice way. So for those of you who have not, don't know what we're talking about, I will put a link in the show notes so you can check Justin out on LinkedIn and you can see the gratitude note that he writes every day on his profile. He does a really nice job of tagging and mentioning people that he is grateful for and that he's interacted with during his days. So it's just a really, really nice public expression of gratitude and even just a way to keep track of what's going on in your life. I really like it. So that's not what we're here to discuss today, but I thought it was kind of a nice segue into the kind of guy you are before we dig a little bit deeper. So tell me, you are a professional connector, specifically professional connector at connecting visionaries. Tell me why you are passionate about connecting visionaries.
Oh, well, I think everyone's born with a gift. I think we're all born with gifts, and then many people don't find out what that is, and then others find out what it is and never do anything about it, which I don't, it's sad to me. So my gift is connecting visionaries to serve humanity. So that's, I don't really care what someone does. I only care about who they are, and who they love. So I, I'm someone who connects visionaries to serve humanity, and I'm a visionary serving humanity. So that's my entire purpose in life and well beyond this life. I never really think about anything else ever.
So how do you identify a visionary?
Well, it's a great question. You're strategic one in Strength Finders. Strategic is from a Greek Latin word that means the highest form of leadership, strategic, and then you're a relator. I'm an activator. You're an activator too, but I'm an activator, maximizer, achiever. So I don't overthink anything. It's just pure activation. Go, go, go. So I'm 47. It took most of my life to consciously find who a true visionary is. And then unconsciously, I'd been looking for it my whole life, but then it came into the consciousness, but it took a long time. And then the word business comes from the Latin word bisignus, which means anxiety. So when anyone's ever talking about business, they're just talking about anxiety. And the word sale means dull and dirty. So when someone's trying to sell something, it's literally dull and dirty. So visionaries, a true visionary thinks well past their own lifetime, and they're not selling anything. They're just being in their purpose. They're just being in their purpose, and then they can see things before others. And then most importantly, they'll never make an excuse ever. Never ask what do you cost or charge. Never be afraid to do it. Not a true visionary. Not a true one. No excuses at the highest level. So they'll trust their gut and heart and pure intuition, and they'll go for it no matter what. They won't live within limits because a true visionary has no limits ever.
So how do you know when you're having conversations with people if they have those attributes, skills, qualities? Like, is it
Yeah.
just a gut knowingness? Is it something you look for?
Yeah.
Because when you and I first started talking, you didn't think I was a visionary, and then you started asking me more questions, and then I think you kind of thought I was a visionary. I think you're kind of on the fence as to whether I'm a real visionary or not, but I'm just curious as to what that process is for you. And it's not about um, it's not about judging someone. It's about, like, how do you
No,
get that?
not
How do
judging
you
at
get
all.
that sense, right?
There's no
'Cause-
right or wrong answer. It's just the
Mhm,
way. So I choose to live my life connecting visionaries, not business owners. Business
right.
literally means anxiety. So I found that I'm 47. I found out what that word meant, I don't know, a couple months ago. Because I'm like, why do I not care about this stuff? Why do I not care about business? Because it literally means I looked it up. So um, um, but I guess three things if it helps, if it's helpful, to appeal to your strategic one. Again, strategic is highest form of leadership. That's what it means. Like a general. But so one, they're a visionary. So they're not a business owner, not a business owner, not a consultant, not an employee. They're a visionary. They see things before others. Two, they live in full abundance, no scarcity, none. No, a true visionary does not live in scarcity, because if you're on your own limiter, then you can't. If you have limits, then you're not a pure visionary. Three, well, I guess from a strategic, what does someone say or what do they ask standpoint, if someone asks, what do you cost or charge, they're not a visionary. Only if they ask, what is an investment? What does an investment look like? True visionary would never live in cost scarcity. They would live in abundance investment. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Do you think there are times when uh, those things, any one of those things might be out of kilter for a certain reason?
Strategic one and strength finders. Yeah. Strategic one. And then I can hear you asking for yourself and for your audience. And if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, that's hypocrisy. So you're trying to learn, strategize about yourself to help your audience, which is good, which is good. Where I've seen it and felt it is in if visionaries are in a room of business owners and they get very annoyed with that. They don't know why. Maybe unconsciously they're super annoyed. And they're listening to things or listening to other questions where they know they don't fit in, but they're still in the room and they're trying to figure out why they don't feel like they should be in the room. And it's a constant evolving process. It's beautiful. My favorite quote used to be from Earl Nightingale: "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal." So a true visionary will always try to be curious, and then with that curiosity, create more knowledge and learning, and then you just keep getting better and better at your purpose, better and better at your purpose, and then you see who a true visionary is, and then someone who potentially could be a true visionary, but they're still surrounded by their own limits, and then surrounded by others that have limits. And a true visionary will do whatever it takes to, one, not have limits, and then two, not be surrounded by people that have limits.
Hmm. I resonate with that. I don't like being surrounded by people who have limits. I
Right.
can say, though, that there are times where
Right. I can hear
I
it. I hear you're
feel,
on the fence. I can hear it.
yeah,
I feel it. I
but
so
that's why I'm asking you. There are times where
right.
I feel
I
very
get it.
abundant, and then
Right.
there are times
And
where I'm not. And that's why I'm asking
so it's
you.
your choice. So okay. Thank you. Thank you for asking that question. Thank you. This is my litmus test for my father was 61 when I was born, shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute in World War II. He would get back into a plane. Just finished third book, which is called Epic Journey. I'm very, very grateful to have finished that based on pure gut intuition. I followed his World War II map to a town in France that I'd never heard of ever. Just saw it in his diary. I said, oh, okay, I got to go there, and then unlocked what actually matters in life. Most people won't do that. One of the diary entries in his diary entry from the Battle of the Hurricane Forest, he watched his friend die in a plane crash. This is graphic. His friend's face melted off, his legs were burned off to a crisp. And then my dad watched that. And then as commanding officer 20 minutes later said, hey, can you go on a bombing mission? And my dad and his friends said, sure, we'll go on that. A true visionary will do that. A non-true visionary will create limits for themselves, and you cannot be a visionary if you have limits for yourself, because you can't talk about being a visionary if you're limiting yourself. You can't do it. Not a true visionary, not at the highest level. Business owner, maybe small business owner, consultant, employee, that's fine. That's most of the world. That's totally fine. Not a true visionary. No, not at the highest level.
Who are some of the true visionaries that in this world that you look up to that people would recognize their names?
Well, my wife and I we just went to Necker Island for 5 days and hung out with Sir Richard Branson. He was a good example. Dr. Deepak Chopra. At our company event, one of the main speakers was Ian Lopatin. He founded Spiritual Gangster, which is a very large clothing company, but it's not really a clothing company. It's a conscious community that uses clothes to create consciousness. So people like that. Melissa Bernstein has become a great friend. She founded Melissa and Doug Toys. That's one, the top wooden toy company in the world. She's a pure visionary, just pure. I mean, she's a pure visionary. So I talk about these folks in the Epic Journey book, and they just don't make excuses ever. Never. No excuses.
No excuses.
Never.
It's funny. My blog that came out today was about radical responsibility, taking radical responsibility. So
right. So radical responsibility means no limits. That's what but again, most people talk about this stuff, but they don't actually do what they said. So that I've never understood that.
Yeah.
Never.
I don't think I do it all the time. I think I do it sometimes, but I don't think I do it all the time. That's why I asked you, like, can a visionary have moments when they're not? And I think your point is you have visionary tendencies, but you're not a pure visionary if you have some of those limitations.
Well, it's an interesting question and point. Again, success is the progressive realization of where the ideal. I started first company with, again, I don't even like saying this word, but with zero business background. I still don't know what an S corp is. I didn't know you had to pay taxes 4 times a year. So that was 7 years ago. No business background. I don't care about that stuff. I never have. But with the minutia and potential limits, yes, maybe there are some of that stuff, but for the big things, the main things, no limits. And certainly at first, like if you just know you have to do something, then you do it. And then that evolves, because success is the progressive realization of where the ideal. Then you realize, I'm not saying you, but like in general, that there are no limits for anything. And then you just purely trust your gut intuition. Yeah.
So tell me why you want to serve humanity. And can you talk about you connect visionaries to serve humanity? That's what your bio says,
Well,
right?
that's, to me, that's the highest form of, that's an interesting question. I don't think there's any higher form of leadership than doing that.
Can you talk to us about what that means from a big picture and a granular perspective?
Okay. Well, thank you for asking that. Okay. So, in terms of like backstage scaling a company, I would electrocute myself or blow up a company if I did that. So I know I'm incapable of doing that and would never want to do that. So I'll answer it from the perspective of what our team does, within the company, if it's helpful. So because of my wife, who is a pediatrician, and now she's an adult pediatrician, because almost all of our members have ADD, and they're little children, in a good way. And then my partner, Mark Fujiwara, who does 8 and 9 figure deals all day, and he's an empath. That makes absolutely no sense, but here we are. We're about to be named one of the top 5 masterminds on the planet. We have our own TV channel with 30 million reach. That's going to be on Apple TV and Roku and all that. I don't even know what that means, but we have an MBA program affiliated with Oxford. We have a philanthropic wing. We have 3 to 4 virtual meetings every month, 2 in-person meetings a year. Our next one will feature a VIP night where Chef Rick Bayless, who was one of the top chefs in the world, literally he'll be cooking for our members. So, but I don't do any of the detail stuff. I just like to talk to visionaries and connect them and just pure focus on that. And then simplify into patterns that are actually actionable and digestible so people can actually read it and, one, realize if they're a visionary or not. Two, more importantly, they can actually do something about it. And here's what some of the top visionaries in the world have done. And so that, I guess that's my main gift, is to be able to simplify into actionable items that and connect dots through heart and mind. But the building a company, no, I don't want to do any of that. I would never want to do that.
Right. But it's like you and I have talked about, I guess, consciousness and humanity. And
Yes.
I want you to tell us what that means from your perspective. Like, I want you to think about our listeners right now. And if somebody's listening to this
A
show
visionary
and
will
they,
understand everything that I'm talking about right now.
but you've also said that only 0.1% of people are true visionaries and that
Yes.
the work that they do impacts
That's
the
the
other
people
99.
I'm talking to. So I connect those people because they help everyone else. So the way I communicate attracts people like Sir Richard Branson or Dr. Deepak Chopra. It attracts people like that, or people that want to be like that, and then they help everyone else. So within our company, most of our members are fairly wealthy. Some are not. Many have had 8 and 9 figure exits. Most have not, but some of them have. And money is energy. And so the reason why I talk and communicate and feel like this is because, one, most people are not visionaries. Two, the ones who are visionaries, they've never heard this before. And they're like, oh my God, no business owner stuff. Wow. How about that? And it's very intentional with that, because I'm not relating to everyone. I'm very direct, focused on a certain thing. One, because that's my purpose in life. That's all I care about. That's all I really ever have cared about. And then you just keep getting better at that. So it's not for everyone, which is fine. But the people it is for are the ones that help everyone else, not only in this lifetime, but past that.
Hmm. So if someone is listening right now and they're not a visionary, but they want to make an impact in their
Mm,
own way,
yes.
and they want to stay
And you
true
are a
to
relator. Wow.
them,
My God. Yeah, I can hear strategic. It's really fascinating. So I connect visionaries because they help everyone else.
right?
What I will say, so the question you're asking, I never think about it, but I will try to answer for you and your audience. I will try to do that. People are born with gifts. It's a
Mm.
disservice to humanity, whether a visionary or not, to not use their gift. So whatever their gift is, to do that. Doesn't matter if you're a visionary or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hmm. I don't know what else to ask you, Justin. What else should I be asking you?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I never come prepared for any interview. Um, I never come prepared for any interview. Um, but it's an interesting world, gaining increased consciousness. And I think as that evolves, it's like a magnet. It's a magnet. And most folks, Dr. David Hawkins spent his whole life working on a scale of consciousness. Most folks are below 200, so they're living in fear or apathy, um, or shame. And then very few, only 1% of the world gets to 500, which is inner love. So there's inner wisdom, that's the high IQ, but they don't have the EQ. And I guess to answer your earlier question, a true visionary has both high IQ and high EQ, both, both. And so to be aware of that it's really important. It's really important to see if you have both.
When did you
Um,
realize you were a true visionary?
when I spent most of my life talking like this and people would just stare. Um, my favorite quote now, is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. To be great is to be misunderstood. To be great is to be misunderstood. So a true visionary is the most misunderstood person. We talked about kindergarten earlier. Froebel in Germany, or what it was called Prussia, in the 1800s, he invented kindergarten because why wouldn't you invent kindergarten? That's fun, right? So the Prussian government banned kindergarten because it went against the church and it was too secular. So they banned kindergarten. And then they banned it a year before he died, and then he begged the Prussian government, begged them, and begged the church in a beautiful letter, this is an epic journey, by the way. This letter, just begged them, please don't ban this. But after he died, they unbanned it, and then one of his distant relatives, many generations later, was running one of the schools that he originally started. So that's a visionary. That's a visionary. To be great is to be misunderstood. So visionaries are the most misunderstood. So if people are genuinely confused by you or don't understand you, that's actually and can be a great thing because to be great is to be misunderstood.
Do you think Elon Musk is a visionary?
No,
Why
no.
not?
No EQ. No EQ. A genius, but not a visionary.
Hmm.
A genius. Yeah.
Where do you think there is a gap in the world right now where more visionaries are needed?
Great question. Uh, so my 9-year-old, well, he's 10 now, but our 9-year-old Chase drew made a drawing about to answer your question. Um, I don't know. Can I share it? Can I show it?
Yeah, I can give you permission.
Let me see. So I'm not. Oh, all right,
I
I'm
gave
the
you permission.
co-host now. All right, hold on, please. Oh, here, it looks right here. Okay. Note taker entered it said that I'm not an implementer. So hold on. All right, all right, hold on. All right, shared screen. All right, so this is the manuscript for the book. So here's his son. There's my son's drawing. This is when he was 9. He's 10 now.
Wow.
Right. So this is a visionary, right? Okay. Not business visionary. All right. So hold on. Okay. Can everyone see this? I hope, Slee. Okay. So triangle partnership. So up here, this is the main problem with the world. You have grandfather, great spirits, mostly men. So they're melting everything with their egos. They're just trying to make more money. They're running businesses. Business means anxiety. That's literally what it means. And then they have no Mother Earth. Usually Mother Earth is a woman. A Mother Earth can certainly be a man, feminine energy, source of life and reflection. And then they don't have the moon. So the whole visionary integrator thing, that's a business owner partnership. That's not a visionary partnership, even though visionary is one of the things. But so I'll give you an example. Within our company, I'm definitely this. If I tried to build our company, I'd melt everything. My wife is pure Mother Earth, pediatrician, and then partner is a 8-9-figure deal maker who's an empath. And then all of the partnerships within our company, because triangles are the strongest shapes. That again, my 9-year-old who's now 10 drew this, not me. All of the partnerships and collaborations within our company, there's a triangle partnership, and there's at least one woman. So far, it's all been at least one woman. But if it was 3 men, at least one of them would have been a Mother Earth feminine energy. So that's the main problem. Does that answer your question? Yeah, that's where the gap is, because it's a business owner structure. It's a business structure, not a true partnership structure. So most business structures are two egos working on business stuff, not true partnership stuff. That's where I see the gap, or where Chase sees the gap, our son.
Why is the triangle so important?
Because it's the strongest shape, and that's how you make bridges.
How do you make bridges with a triangle?
That's what they make bridges with. Bridges are made with triangles. Yeah. Yeah. So most people aren't aware of any of this stuff. Most people aren't aware that business means anxiety or sale means dull and dirty. So they're living in a false construct created by business owners who have ego. That's what it's been created. So if you look at school or healthcare religion. Religion means to bind, service means slavery. So religious service is binding slavery. So all this stuff's in the book. So to be aware of this, most people aren't aware of it. So they've been living in a false construct preached by people that, one, aren't aware of it, and two, that they're not only living it, but they're doubling down, tripling down on it. And then with Time Magazine, in 1984, I looked up the history of venture capitalism, because that's like the ultimate ego. That's the ultimate high IQ, no EQ. And Time Magazine in 1984 had a cover story with this guy who looked like a robot. And the headline was it VC, the men who do the killings. That was the cover of Time Magazine, and his tie was a dollar bill. So that was the cover of Time Magazine, which at the time was the most influential publication in the United States, arguably. And so not only preached, but like applauded the men who do the killings, the men who do this. So that's how it's been accepted and trumpeted for many, many, many decades.
So if someone listening to this show right now resonates with a lot of what you said about being a visionary, specifically about feeling like they don't fit in,
Feeling right, good.
where should they go?
Well, I mean, it's why the company our company, that's why we created it.
And is there a qualification process to
I
get
mean,
into
I
your
can tell right
like?
away if they're, so, they have to be a visionary. We're pretty good about identifying that,
Mhm.
but, or they could start their own. I mean, the formula for creating a successful global company is simple: as you see a problem, create solution, problem solve, successful global company. Most people, they'll see the problem, but they won't do anything about it. They won't create the solution, and they won't follow through on doing it. I don't understand. If you know here's the problem, well, do something about it. Don't make an excuse. Most people make excuses their whole life.
Well, because 99.9% of people don't live without limits.
Correct.
And so, because so many people don't live without limits and they look at things as a cost versus an investment,
Mhm.
they're afraid to act.
Right. And that's fine. But the visionaries help everyone else. That's why I singularly focused on that. That's why
Mhm.
the way I answered these questions is, one, intentional, two, it's how I feel, and three, whatever I say, 99.9% will not do anything about it anyway. So it's a pointless, it's a waste of my breath, literally.
Mhm.
So but identifying and connecting to the 0.1% allows me, one, to fulfill my purpose, and then help the people that I'm actually supposed to serve. Because if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, that's hypocrisy. So if someone wants to be someone who helps small businesses, then they should be a small business. Or if someone wants to help human resources, they should want to do that. So I just connect visionaries to serve humanity because I'm a visionary serving humanity. That's just logical.
Logical for you.
Correct.
Do you believe that logic is different for everyone?
Well, one, of course, um, and then what's really interesting is, after a while, the only logic becomes illogic, and impossible becomes the only reality. And as evolved consciousness happens, things that overwhelming majority of society would consider impossible or not believable, that actually becomes the norm. And it's really fascinating to see that. And the term manifest is fine, but it's more of like you feel it and then you do something about it almost immediately. And that's what actually creates the manifestation, is the actual action. It's like you feel it, but then you do something about it. And then that's when it happens. And then chapter 1 of the book, of Epic Journey book, I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm really excited about it because it unlocks a lot of things for people. All people, especially visionaries, but all people. But it talks about serendipity. Serendipity is things not sought for. So by seeking something, you actually found out what you're supposed to be looking for because you actually were seeking something in the first place. Yeah.
All right. Well, Justin, I don't have any more questions because I don't know what else to ask that would be of value for the 0.1% of people listening to this that are visionaries that we haven't already talked about. I
Hmm.
think that, you're really clear on, what it means to be a visionary. And I think that it's, people can self-select pretty easily from that.
100%. 100%.
And, I think in answering my question, are there times when you're not? Because I can think of times when I can relate to all three of those things. And then I can think of times in my life where I don't relate to all three of those things. So I guess the answer to my question is that I'm not a true 0.1% visionary,
Hmm.
or I would relate to all three of those things 100% of the time.
To relate to your relator, at the end of 28, so I've been an entrepreneur or whatever the term is, since 2017. So end of 2018, I'd made more money in 1 year than I'd ever thought possible. I'd never been more miserable in my life because I was running a business at the time and I just I wasn't aware yet. And so it was a lot of anxiety. And at the end of 2018, uh, uh, one time I actually, I'm relating, you got me to relate. So that's good. I applied for an actual job one time. And literally 2 minutes after I hit submit, I got a bong letter saying I didn't qualify, which that's just this, but that was manifesting, or that was, so that's the last time I did that. So, but again, again, if you're supposed to be on this path, then it will guide, your way to it. Um, it will guide your way to it. And this path is definitely not for everyone. In fact, it's almost for no one, which is fine. Which is fine. But I have found going down this path is the ultimate. It's the ultimate enlightenment. The ultimate suffering and the ultimate enlightenment. You can't have the ultimate enlightenment without the ultimate suffering. That's just what it takes. And most people will not put in what it takes to have the ultimate suffering. They won't do it, which is fine, which is fine. But that's what it takes. No exceptions to that. There are no exceptions to that I've seen.
Cool. Tell us one fun thing about meeting Richard Branson that everyone can relate to.
So he's not a business owner, and I knew that, but on that trip, probably 90% of the folks that were with us were business owners pretending to be visionaries, and we got into really interesting discussions because I'm like, he's not a business. I go, he's a visionary. So I asked, I asked Sir Richard Branson what the meaning of life was, essentially, and then he said something that I think does answer your question. He said he never started any company with the primary motive to make money, ever, ever. Yep. True
Cool.
vision. Yep.
Interesting story. When my husband and I went to Europe for the very first time, I can sleep anywhere. So I fell asleep as soon as we got on the plane, and my husband was awake all night. And we toured around London until about,
Hmm.
I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And my husband said, I just need to nap for half an hour and then we'll
Yes.
go for dinner. And I'm like, if you lay down and go to sleep, you're not getting up. So sure
Uh-huh.
enough, he laid down, fell asleep. I could not wake him up. And I spent the evening listening to uh, Losing My Virginity, Richard Branson, one of Richard Branson's books, and it was
Yes.
wildly entertaining and fun to listen. And
Right.
he is like a kid with a dream, not a business person.
Adult kindergarten. Well, okay.
Yeah,
Correct. Most people aren't like that.
that's
I
right.
only surround myself with people like that because it's adult kindergarten. They just
There
want
you
to
go.
play. That's it. It's very simple.
There you go.
Yep.
Just want to play. All right. Thank you so much,
That's
Justin,
fun.
for spending time with us
Thank you. I
and
enjoyed.
Sorry for trying to make you like make things relatable
Thanks
for
for saying
us
sorry and
normal
not
folks.
sorry. I appreciate it. You're not normal. You're not. Average means damage to a ship. French word avery, damage to a ship. That's what average means. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. And if you are identifying as a visionary after hearing this conversation, I want you to reach out and tell me because I want to know who the unicorns are in my world besides Justin. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.